Hey guys, welcome back to the Foolish Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Michigan just wrapped up their 64-58 loss to the Maryland Terrapins, and I would just have to say a few things right off the bat that this was a big missed opportunity by Michigan to get at least TV was saying it would have been a quad one victory on the road. So again, Michigan falls short of being able to put together a good victory on the road. I mean, they get some wins at home, but you've really got to get some wins on the road. And definitely this was a prime candidate for it. Maryland's crowd was pathetic, really. I mean, you had tons of empty seats. A weeknight game, fine, 7 o'clock, whatever. But the crowd was not intense. It wasn't like an East Breslin game or, in Champaign or Columbus game where you're facing a super hostile environment. It was pretty lackadaisical, at least capacity-wise. So Michigan really wasn't intimidated by that. Instead, they seemed to again be kind of trying to overperform a little bit because they're playing in Maryland. You had Doug McDaniel, T. Will, and Hunter, of course, played at DeMatha High School in Maryland, and they want to show out for home games. And Hunter has had that tremendous streak versus Maryland. He's averaging 17 points and I think 8 rebounds a game in his career versus Maryland, and he likes to play well. And this just reminds me of the Michigan State game where the first possession they throw down to Hunter and he gets a nice little hook shot, and you think, okay, it's going to be a big game for Hunter, and then he's basically a ghost for much of the first half. True, he did finish with 10 points. So, I mean, the points, he had 2 threes like in the last 5 minutes of the half, and he had a dunk in there too. But it's like 10 points is misleading. He had 2 threes, cool, but it's like you would think he would have been in the paint and been effective. And again, Michigan continues to let him be doubled and let him be taken out of the action, the offense. Robbie Hummel is just adamant that Michigan needs to be doing, have him get the ball in the middle of the floor where you can't have an easy double team to him. But Michigan continues to have him down on the block where it's an easy to double team. To be fair, Maryland came out and played much better than they did the first time, where Michigan blew them out and won the game handily and got up 17-0 before Maryland even scored a point in that game in Ann Arbor. This game, Maryland just came out and took it to Michigan. And Michigan didn't really have an answer. They were down by quite a bit. I think it was 12, 13 points. And then Michigan started playing a little bit better, getting some shots, getting some stops. Again, though, an underlying theme is Michigan's inability to rebound. Maryland had 10 offensive rebounds in the first half. There were possessions where they had 2 offensive rebounds in a row before they finally scored. It's just, for probably like 5-10 minutes of the game, Michigan couldn't get a stop at all. Maryland would just be breaking shots, air balls, whatever, and they still could not get a rebound. Then if there was a rebound, like one of the instances, Hunter Dickinson, Doug McDaniel, and one other player under there, and somehow, Hunter just accidentally tips it out of bounds instead. There's like no Maryland player around it at all. It's just like one of those halves. And yet, Michigan somehow pulls it together and gets down by 2 points at half, 34-32. I mean, Jett had 11 points in the first half. I said, good old Hunter had 10. So those 2 players really carried the team. For Maryland, Young just played really good. He had 11 points. So Jett and Young had 11 points at the end of the first half. Second half, first 3-4 minutes, again, Michigan is just a terrible defense, terrible offense. They can't stop pick and rolls. They let Young from Maryland just drive to the hoop and just get layup. Bad shots, giving transition buckets. It's just like, what on earth is up with this? Where's the team that ended the first half on? I think, look at my notes here, they finished on a 17-6 run, Michigan did. Where's that team? And they're just not there to start the second half. So Michigan's got to crawl and dig their way back out of a deficit. I think it was up to like 6-8 points. And at 4, they made it so it's 42-42. And Maryland calls a timeout. And from that point, Maryland just went on a big stretch of run. I think it was like 12-2 points or so. Like that just really put the game away. They got up 59-49. And I just put down in my notebook, the game was over then. I mean, it's like there's no way Michigan's going to score that many points to be able to overcome a 10-point deficit. The offense of Jett Howard completely dried up. He had 2 points in the second half. T. Will, he had a good second half. He finished with 9 points and, well, what do you have? Like 13 rebounds. So, I mean, that's great when you can have one of your guys doing that. Doug had 4 points. Yeah. Jett had 13. He only had 2 points in the second half. Hunter looks better than it was. Again, he had like quiet points. He finishes with 19 points and 10 rebounds, so another double-double, but it wasn't like the dominant offense. He had 3 3-pointers. So, I mean, it's just not like you want Hunter to play. He's a junior 7'1" center. You want him to be in the middle, dominating the game. Instead, he's kind of forced and relegated to take like jumpers and 3-point shots. It's almost like Michigan's offense is predetermined that he's not going to be down low in the blocks for whatever reason. Just he gets doubled, so he has to be out from the double. It's like Michigan doesn't have any method, any way to get away from the double team. So just have Howard or Hunter rather just out at jump shot range, and that's not going to work. The first half it kind of worked. Michigan was able to stay in the game. They hit 6 3-pointers. Second half they only hit 2. That was the big difference too. Michigan was able to hang in the game, claw back in the game in the first because of their threes. Maryland only hit 3 all game, but Michigan, their shooting ran out. It just seems like Michigan just has no offensive identity. Again, it's like they're just kind of passing the ball around the 3-point line and just trying to maybe something will happen. It just doesn't look like they have much consistency, much offensive flow. I really got to question again the defense. It seemed whenever Maryland wanted to, they could get a pick and roll, easy layup. Michigan's defense on that was dreadful. They were greatly outscored in the paint. The last time I saw it was 42-18. Maryland was leading in the paint. And Maryland was more aggressive, and that got them in the bonus early. And Maryland got to do the whole thing where, they got to foul Michigan on purpose and just take time off of that. And you just got to love it when you get to do that. And Iowa got to do that last week as well. To be fair, I think the refs were normal Big Ten refs, so probably trash a lot of times. But Michigan's not aggressive enough. Hunter Dickinson is passive. And Terrence Reed goes in there and he gets fouled. True, he goes and bricks his free throws, shooting 23% from free throw line, but at least he goes and he's aggressive and he gets fouled. I did like what I saw from Cheddar. He seems to be playing well. I can't complain against T. Will, but I wouldn't mind Cheddar starting and T. Will coming in off the bench because T. Will did that last year. Got 5 points, 2 possessions there, a nice layup and a 3 from, I can't think of his name, but the guy from Duke that transferred. But the biggest difference here is you had 4 points from Doug and 2 points from Kobe Buffkin, who has been averaging like 10, 12 points the last 10 games. So he had a terrible offensive game. He was aggressive at like 1 or 2 drives, and then it didn't go in for him, and that was like it. You didn't see him doing anything like the rest of the game. Maybe he's just getting overly tired from having to play point guard when Doug rests. I don't know. Joey Baker, that's his name. The guy, 5 points guy from Duke. Just, another loss. Another chance where Michigan could have got a win and they don't. This one doesn't feel as bad as Iowa because Michigan was leading in that game, right? Michigan, I think, led in this game for under 2 minutes. So it's not like, oh man, we let this one slip away. It was a game, though, that you could have, if you played better, got the win. But, of course, they didn't. That's the point. It brings to question if Howard survives, which I think he will, not get fired this year. I mean, I don't know what it would take for him to get fired. But if he survives, I think he's going to have to get some new assistants that know how to coach some defense, because Michigan's defense has progressively got worse every year, I would say. I know the guys are young, but you got to get some coaches in there that can coach them up. When teams just routinely run the same play over and over and over, and you don't stop it, that kind of speaks to coaching isn't good enough. So, just my thoughts. Michigan goes down. Got to say, Maryland, Their point guard, Young, he had 26 points. He got a lot of his points, not a lot, but last like 6, 7 points at the free throw line for him. So, hey, it's great when you have a guy who can hit his free throws. 26 points, what a great game for him. Michigan loses. Falls to, I think, 4-3 in the Big Ten now. So, Maryland improves to 3-4 in the Big Ten. So, the Big Ten isn't looking that great outside of Purdue. I just don't see anything great out of the Big Ten. So, you never know. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. As always, if you have any comments, put them in the box or try to respond as I'm able to. As always, appreciate your views, and until I see you guys next time, go Blue!